recently did the Battle of the Gods video of Spyral versus Full Power Pendulum Magician. I thought it was mission impossible to bring you guys a competitive Spyral deck inside of the February 5th, 2018 format, but I think the secret mission paid off as this deck is freaking phenomenal. It actually even beat Full Powered Pendulum Magician in one of the games. That includes with Double Iris Magician and Scroll Cobra Joker. I think this deck is seriously a good deck inside of the format. It's just often slept on. So it is my mission to bring you guys an awesome deck profile with these cards. Okay, that was really punny, so you guys have to. I mean, if you guys are enjoying the content that you are seeing, then you can go ahead and Spyral Super Agent that subscribe button. But more importantly, if you're a little just too strong, go ahead and Spyral Double Helix that notification bell. Without further ado, I present to you a Spyral deck profile that is competitive for the February 5th, 2018 format. Alright guys, so looking into the stats of Spyral, I mean, it doesn't really do anything particularly bad, but it does a lot of things really decent. It makes so many power plays with your link summoning. It's pretty consistent. Its attack and defense could leave more to be desired, but overall, I think the consistency, power, and the ability to make splash plays is what this deck does best. So looking into the deck profile, we're going to start off with 3 copies of Spyral Super Agent, 3 copies of Spyral Tough, 2 copies of Spyral Last Resort, 2 copies of Spyral Sleeper, 1 copy of Quick Fix, 1 copy of Gear Drone, and 1 copy of Master Plan. Now, I know you guys are probably looking at this particular build a little different because it is a Spyral Sleeper Turbo version, and I really feel that Spyral Sleeper is a very powerful card, literally at the cost, if you want to call that, of banishing 3 Spyral cards in your graveyard. You get a free 2800 attack position monster that can destroy cards on your opponent's side of the field during either player's turn. I really thought that was way too good to pass up, and essentially running more than 2 copies was more of a brick, and running less than 2 copies felt I wasn't doing the deck justice. Now, I know that the older builds did only play 1 copy, and they had fair use to only play 1 copy. They had 3 copies of Resort. They had so many ways to search Spyral Sleeper, but now you really want to power into this card as much as possible. It is your go-to boss monster. Another thing I want to talk about is the 3 copies of Super Agent and the 3 copies of Tough. These cards are extraordinarily important to the deck, more important now than ever before, because we want to abuse Quick Fix being able to summon itself to our side of the field as much as possible. These monsters all are either Spyral Double or Spyral Super Agent or count as Spyral Super Agent while on the field, and that's really important to the strategy. Another thing I want to point out is that Tough plus Super Agent itself is a brilliant combo, mainly because you summon Tough. Even if you don't get it right, now you know the next card on top of your opponent's deck to summon your Super Agent and make your link play, and if your link play is Spyral Double Helix, now you know their top card of the deck, so you can successfully get it right. Another great thing about Tough is that if you keep resummoning this card or just making more copies to your side of the field, you can continuously use its effect to keep destroying your opponent's monsters. Spyral Super Agent is somewhat like that. Unfortunately, its effects are only once per turn, the effect to special summon itself and the effect to destroy, but it's relatively easy to get its effect off, and it's a free monster. Now, Spyral Last Resort actually pairs well with the Double Sleeper. Not only is this a card that's searchable through Quick Fix, which we do go through Quick Fix quite a bit, you're going to be summoning this monster a lot in this deck, and I know you guys are like, how? But I'll show you a little later. Resort is a card that's searchable by Quick Fix and can equip to the Sleeper, which is basically our boss combo. Being able to equip Last Resort to Sleeper is just phenomenal. It can't be destroyed by card effects. It can't be targeted, if I remember correctly, or maybe that's just with Resort on the field. It's just a really solid piece. Now, the drone is also really good. It provides another combo piece for the Super Agent drone combo. You summon the drone, you look at the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck, and now your Super Agent is guaranteed to get off, just because you know your opponent's top deck with drone. My apologies. Another great thing is that it can banish itself to add these monsters, and recursion is really important for the deck. We still run 1 copy of Spyral Master Plan, and this card is probably even more better, or actually I wouldn't say it's even better, but it's still a really good card. It's level 7, so that's another first thing awesome about it. You will only be able to get its second effect once, seeing that we only can play one resort into the deck now, but Spyral Master Plan's first effect can be abused over and over again as long as it keeps leaving the field and coming back. And basically what that does is it allows you to add one Spyral Mission card from your deck to your hand, which is extremely important for this deck. That's it for the Spyrals. I think I explained every single one of them pretty well, so let's get on to the hand traps that we play, because this deck is natively built to run such a low count of the monsters that you really need, and you only need 2 to get your combo going. Hand traps pair really well with this deck. So for this particular deck, I run 2 copies of Effect Veiler, 2 copies of Droll and Lock, and 2 copies of Ash Blossom Enjoy a Spring. And the reason why I run 2, 2, and 2 instead of a 3 and 3 build is because Effect Veiler is just really powerful against Electromite. It's also really good against a lot of cards in the format right now. Droll and Lockbird stops a lot of decks literally in their tracks. True Draco, you can stop the Pendulum Magician once it starts going. It's just extremely powerful. And then Ash Blossom isn't necessarily as powerful as it once was, but it still is a very powerful card. Now, I know you guys are probably like, what about them budget options? Well, in about a week or so, or actually, I recorded this video pretty early, but very soon, these cards are going to be reprinted soon. So there's my budget options right there. Just run them. I don't think there's anything in Yu-Gi-Oh! That's too expensive. I run 20 monsters. I showed you guys 19. The last copy is the Destrudo Nudo. This card is freaking sauce. Unfortunately, it doesn't get off as much as I would love it to, but it's pretty essential for the card I'm going to show you guys later into the deck profile. So that's it for the monsters. At 20 for the spells, we run 3 copies of the Souse. This card is so fucking saucy. And I remember when this deck got hit the first time around, I really wanted to play this combo into it, but then Spirals were competitive without it. But now seeing that it's hit again, this card might be coming into light as a really good card. 3 copies of DDR, Different Dimension Reincarnation. Now, the reason why this card is so good is between my double sleepers banishing my Spiral targets, as well as Quick Fix being able to banish itself, as well as Spiral Gear Drone being able to banish as well. DDR is a very, very, very live card, allowing me to manipulate what monsters can come back to the field. And more often than not, my Spiral monsters, when they're summoned, they gain some sort of effect. So Quick Fix allows you to search more cards. You know, even Master Plan, she is really devilish because you can banish her after you add the Spiral Mission. Use the Spiral Mission card as target for the DDR, special summon her back, and then add another Spiral Mission. So basically, you got a monster for free, plus you got presence in your graveyard for your Spiral Mission cards to be able to activate. But DDR is really important for you to be able to cycle through your banished monsters to your side of the field and basically get your banished monsters to your side of the field and abuse their effects. It also is very searchable inside of this deck. Next is 2 copies of Spyral Gear Big Red. This card is also extremely searchable, and not just through Quick Fix, but the ability to be able to special summon a Spiral monster from your graveyard to your side of the field for basically free. And then what a lot of people do overlook is that that monster can't be destroyed by battle, so it's really good. I think that Big Red has a really solid spot at 2, and I actually do run 1 more equipped spell card, and this spell card I thought was good. It turned out to be not so great, and now I think it's pretty good again. It's Spyral Gear Fully Armed. Now, this card is really good in my opinion because you equip it to a super agent monster, it gains 1,000 attack, and it actually allows you to deal with so many boards. There's so many times where an opponent has to deal with me summoning Tough, and then me equipping this card to it before I do anything else, because not only does Tough become strong enough to run into most monster threats that negate on the field, Naruto, whatever it may be, it also allows me to banish cards on my opponent's side of the field, so they have to deal with this card before they deal with anything else, and it's pretty searchable inside of the deck. We, of course, run 2 copies of Dragon's Ravine. This is a really good target for terraforming and allows us to put Strudel Noodle to our graveyard. The 1 copy of Spyral Resort. Unfortunately, it is limited to 1, or I guess you could say fortunately, because Spirals are running pretty rampant with this card at 3, but it's still really, really good. There shouldn't be any reason not to run this card inside of a Spiral deck, because once per turn, it allows you to add Spiral cards, and then allows you to shuffle monsters from your deck, or your graveyard to your extra deck. Now keep in mind with Spyral Resort, the monsters must go to the main deck, so you can't shuffle extra deck monsters because Spyral Resort is a maintenance cost. And then the last field spell card I run is Pseudo Space. After Spyral Resort goes to the graveyard, it's completely useless. There's nothing you can do with it. So the best thing to do is just Pseudo Space the Spyral Resort and gain its effect one more time. Also, after you use Resort before, you can just overlay or place the Pseudo Space over it and then get its effect again. So Pseudo Space is pretty good if you need that second search. And then, of course, 3 copies of Terraforming to tutor out my field spell cards when I need them in a pinch. Ironically, if I'm Terraforming, more often than not, I'm going for the Ravine over the Resort because I can always make Master Plan to tutor into the Resort. Next, we're going to run a lot of one-ofs. 1 copy of Soul Charge. This card is still really nutty for the Spyral strategy. 1 copy of Spyral Mission Assault. I'm not a huge fan of this card, but it does get a lot of combos started, and it is fodder for DDR. Basically, it's on-field effect I never use, but being able to special summon a Spyral monster from my hand can help me unbrick just a little bit. 1 copy of Reinforcement of the Army. We run 6 warrior monsters, all of them being Spyral Super Agent monsters on the field. Excuse me. 1 copy of Foolish Burial to send the important cards that I need from my deck to my graveyard. 1 copy of Monster Reborn. It's essentially a Spyral Gear Big Red, except with less restrictions. And 1 copy of 1-for-1, 2 Tutor Quick Fix or Spyral Gear Drone to my side of the field. This deck is heavily reliant, again, on being able to make 2 Spyral monsters. So any cards that can help me make 2 Spyral monsters is freaking amazing in this deck. I think that's 19 spells. We run 3 traps. And this is the most important trap card of the deck. It's really what makes this deck go. I wasn't expecting him to be this good. 3 copies of Spyral Mission Rescue. Now, this is the card you want to search with your Spyral Master Plan, mainly because when it's in the graveyard, you can banish it to special summon a Spyral monster from your graveyard to your side of the field. It's not a once per turn, so it's freaking awesome, and its own field effect is nothing to sleep on. Once per turn, you can add a Spyral monster from your graveyard to your hand. So basically, after you've already powered through your combo using the tough Super Agent or Drone Super Agent, you can use Rescue Mission to put back your Super Agent to prepare for another straight combo. I'm telling you, this card, too strong. Easily one of the best trap cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now. So that's it for the traps. For the extra deck, this is where we get that little sauce. You guys are going to be seeing a lot of sauce in this deck. 2 copies of Spyral Double Helix. That's pretty standard. A lot of players like to run 3. I don't have room for 3, and I don't think this deck necessarily needs 3. But ultimately, it's a really good card. It's the backbone of the deck when it comes to links, and it's going to be your combo starter. You want to use this card effectively, so you want to know the top card of your opponent's deck. If you're guessing, you're probably in a bad position. 1 copy of Firewall. It is limited to 1 for good reasons. This card created terrible loops, but still we use it to special summon monsters to our side of the field, as well as abuse the fact that if it's pointing to other card effects or other linked, or if it's co-linked, my apologies, it gets to bounce cards. 1 copy of Borlo. If in case I want to steal your bitch, this card is really good. 1 copy of Sarjulia. This card makes the deck all over again. I don't even know why I even sold the second copy of this card. It is nasty good. Being able to draw cards, allowing you to fish into whatever you need. It special summon monsters to your side of the field, and it gives your monsters a little bit of an attack boost, all on top of being a 2800 body. I don't understand what Kamani was thinking when they made this card. It's awesome. 1 copy of Decode Talker. I mean, really standard for any Link deck. It's probably the best Link 3. Tri-Gate Wizard is a really good card because you can, in this deck, make it linked to all 3 arrows, which means you get to negate an opponent's card. Ib and Proxy Dragon. These cards are typically going to be linked to your left and right zones to Tri-Gate Wizard when you make it, or to a Firewall to provide protection, as well as just really good link monsters to make. 1 Link Karibo. This is really good for getting your Spyral monster off the board, your Spyral Quick Fix off the board. So I really like this card. And then, of course, 1 Link Spider. That's going to be told a little bit later into the deck profile. That's it for the Link monsters. I actually thought I would have more room, but I don't, so I gotta like move the Link monsters out of the way. For the Synchro monsters, so these are all the Strudel Noodle targets. 1 copy of Ancient Fairy Dragon. That's pretty standard. Everybody knows about the Ancient Fairy play by now, and if you don't, basically what you do is you activate Dragon's Ravine, you pitch a monster, you pitch a card from your hand to send to Strudel Noodle, you summon a monster, activate the Strudel Noodle, it becomes 6 or whatever level to make a Synchro 7. Ancient Fairy Dragon destroys the Ravine, and then you can add Spyral Resort if need be. This is actually the card I make the least out of my Synchro 7s, but it's still a good card card. It can also special summon monsters from your hand to your side of the field. 1 copy of Power Tool Dragon. This is the sauce. This is the sauce. This is the sauce. I don't even know how to say it any other way other than this card is sauce. Now, you guys are probably thinking, TheCaliEffect, why'd you run so many copies of DDR? Well, Power Tool Dragon basically guarantees I'm going to get a DDR from my deck to my hand if I run 3 copies. It also, in other sense, you can keep using it and using your Spyral Gear Big Reds and your Spyral Gear Fully Armored as targets to search from your deck to your hand. This card is so freaking boss. It is normally what I'm making with the Strudel Noodle combo. It fuels so many awesome plays. Next is number 42, Galaxy Tomahawk. This card is really good because not only is Spyral Super or Master Plan a level 7, so with your Power Tool, Ancient Fairy, and more often than not, your Destrudel if you decide to Synchro Summon it, which is going to make these 2. So making this card for Super Link plays is dumb easy. And this is the reason why we even run a Link Spider, mainly because sometimes you get stuck with your Tomahawk and all the tokens. You use one of your tokens to make Link Spider, and now you have 2 monsters that are effect monsters, and you can continue on with the combo. A lot of times you can use it for the Link Spider if these 2 monsters are 2 monsters with different types and attributes, so then you can use them to make IB. So that's the reason why we run that random copy of Link Spider. And then lastly is Baguska, the Terribly Tired Taper. This card is often made when sometimes we'll have that hand where somebody either stops us in our play, or we can't make exactly what we need to make, so we go ahead and make the Baguska in defense and hopefully to stall off for another turn. That is it for the extra deck monsters. Now on to the side deck monsters, or the side deck cards. 1 copy of Effect Veiler. That's for the 3rd copy of Effect Veiler. 1 copy of Ash, 1 copy of Droll and Lock. Basically, you can mix and match these cards to your desire. Taking out whatever you don't like to whatever you do like. 3 copies of Twin Twisters for back row destruction. Really good at clearing the opponent's board. Something that this deck does struggle with sometimes is getting cards from the hand to the graveyard, and that's what DDR does help solve, and Twin Twisters can help solve as well. Raigeki for board clearance. 3 copies for Dimensional Barrier. I feel like if the Magician matchup makes me go first, then Dimensional Barrier is there to stop them really bad. 3 copies of Evenly Matched. Now, I think that this Evenly Matched that I haven't put down yet, but these 3 Evenly Matched, this is probably the only card that's going to be really expensive with the Legendary Collection Kaiba tins coming out, or Collection Kaiba set coming out. And you can substitute these for Kaiju monsters if you can't afford it. And then lastly is 2 copies of Mind Crush. This deck is really, really, really fun to play. It makes so many disgusting boards, and I would be excited to show you guys the test hands. Let's try to get 150 likes, or you know what? Let's even shoot for 100 likes for the test hands video. I really hope you guys appreciated watching Spyral's back in action again. It's their mission to make you guys smile. So thank you guys so much for watching another segment of the TheCaliEffect. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. Go ahead and give it a like, comment, and subscribe. But most of all, I hope you guys enjoyed.